Greetings of health and wellness. I am Marjorie Rosales, your student nurse for today. Technological innovation has yielded truly remarkable advances in healthcare during the last 5 decades. Assessing the healthcare information technology market can be a daunting task. The proliferation of healthcare technology and its expanding uses have contributed to burgeoning healthcare costs. Navigating the field of potential vendors and assessing solutions require a skilled and experienced leader and a team committed to a fair, unbiased, and thoughtful analysis. This leads us to Chapter 20, Assessing the Vendors. Build versus buy. Build approach is simply the idea of developing in-house applications or a software that is produced by your corporate entity for purpose of using it within the organization. Today, there are many categories of vendors in the market offering a wide variety of solutions. The competition has helped make purchasing or buying a solution the more popular choice by far. This buy option, as it is commonly referred to, has created a robust and thriving health information technology market. Now let's move on to the vendor assessment methodology. But first, let us discuss what is vendor assessment. Vendor assessment may be defined as the assessment or evaluation of a prospective vendor to determine if they can effectively meet the obligations and the needs of the business regarding a service or a product. Vendor assessment methodology is simply represented by this figure, starting from strategy to define, identify, evaluate, and partner. Throughout this methodology, key guiding principles are embedded to ensure that proven best practices are adhered to. Key guiding principles include: number 1, manage the change, communicate. Number 2, maintain and document objectivity. Number 3, think process, not department. Number 4, use the data, trust your gut. And number 5, make a commitment. This lesson will be a roller coaster to you guys, so I suggest for you to keep track of flow by capturing this image. This figure shows the underlying knowledge in each of the guiding principles. Now, let us look at every detail. Guiding principle number 1, manage the change, communicate. Under this key guiding principle is the first major step in the vendor assessment methodology, which is the strategy. The strategy phase typically focuses on 4 key strategic considerations. These are the business drivers, the future state operational and IT vision, independence and compliance, and the financial and return on investment. Business drivers. Why are we doing this? An important first step in assessing the vendor marketplace is to ask why, or what are the business or clinical drivers behind the organization's need to evaluate the vendor solutions in the first place. There may be a number of reasons why an organization needs to assess the health IT vendor market. Next key strategic consideration is the future state. What are we going to look like in the future? Most organizations have a strategic plan which can provide some insight into the future direction of the enterprise. Leadership must fully consider the technology implications of various business strategies. Consider, for example, the potential technology impacts on becoming an accountable care organization, which is an increased need to manage data on populations and predictive analytics to support transitions of care. Third key strategic consideration is independence and compliance. Is the process fair and defensible? One of the key strategic principles of a well-structured vendor analysis is independence. Let us now talk about the key guiding principle number 2, maintain and document objectivity. It is necessary for those who lead efforts to maintain and document objectivity throughout the process. This documentation would include a project charter, a work plan, timelines, status reports, correspondence, and meeting minutes to name a few. Under this key guiding principle is the 4th key strategic consideration, or the financial and return on investment. What are the costs and the benefits? Leadership team must provide some parameters around anticipated solution costs and benefits. The leadership team and the board of directors are often focused on the anticipated return on investment model of the proposed solution. To the extent that they exist, the vendor assessment project team should fully understand any preliminary assumptions made relative to solution cost and benefits. Together with financial and return on investment, key strategic consideration is the second phase of the vendor assessment methodology, or the define phase. It is intended to create the list of prospective vendors, to document the functional and technical solution requirements, and to formally request information or a formal proposal from targeted solution providers. The major tasks in this phase are: conduct market research and understand key market differentiators, develop functional and technical requirements, and develop and submit RFI or RFP. Conduct market research and understand key market differentiators. Conducting a market scan of potential vendors is an important first step of the define phase. An effective high-level market scan is as much as art as it is a science. So let us now discuss the business differentiators. First is the privately held versus public companies. Private held businesses typically make decisions about their business and their solutions based on company's internal management and leadership, while public companies is publicly traded organizations who ultimately report to its external shareholders. Second one is software versus service versus hardware. Software is the collection of code installed onto your computer's hard drive. Service focus on providing management consulting, staff augmentation, or other high-demand skills. Lastly, hardware is the physical component of your computer. Last in the business differentiators is the industry focus or industry alignment, which focuses in healthcare marketplace and industries outside healthcare. After talking about the business differentiators, let us now move on to the technical differentiators. Technical differentiators that has a multiple categories. Some of these are the development model of software products, product line growth strategies, and the solution delivery. After discussing the technical differentiators, next and last is the solution differentiators, or the characteristics of vendors' products that distinguish them from competitors. Second major task in define phase is the develop functional and technical requirements. Requirements, as it is a very important step in the vendor assessment methodology, often referred to as wish list. Future state requirements provide an opportunity for the vendor assessment team to see if vendor solution can support the desired future state environment. Now, we are in the third key guiding principle. Think process, not department. This principle proves that functional requirements should be developed from a process perspective and not in a department one. One sample requirement is the technical requirements that generally pertain to the technical aspects that a system must fulfill. Under this key guiding principle is the third major task of the define phase in the vendor assessment methodology. Develop and submit RFI, RFP. In conclusion, it is immense responsibility to lead or participate in the selection of a new vendor partner for an organization. Following a data-driven and evidence-based vendor assessment methodology provides the opportunity for a thoughtful and objective analysis of a vendor marketplace. RFI stand for Request for Information that is generally used to gather initial information about a vendor and solution offerings and may be used to qualify certain vendors to participate in further analysis. RFP stand for Request for Proposal, is generally considered a more formal document of solicitation made often through a formal and structured bidding process. Included in this principle is the third vendor assessment methodology, which is the identify. During the identify stage, each vendor's eligibility for further participation is determined and the vendor finalists are identified. Together with the third vendor assessment methodology is the fourth, which is the evaluate. During this phase, the remaining field of vendors and solutions are looked at more closely. During also this phase, vendor demonstrations, site visits, and reference calls may occur to further inform the team and identify the vendor of choice. Next key guiding principle is the guiding principle number 4. Use the data, trust your gut. A major deliverable of the evaluation phase is the summary analysis. Summary analysis brings together data from all parts of the methodology in a clear and concise format that is ready for executive review. Now, we are bound to the last key guiding principle. Key guiding principle number 5. Make a commitment. Under these last two key guiding principles is the last phase of the vendor assessment methodology, the partner. As in every relationship, once a partner is identified, it is important for both parties to make a commitment to each other's success. Contract negotiations may begin as soon as the preferred vendor is identified. In conclusion, it is immense responsibility to lead or participate in the selection of a new vendor partner for an organization. Following a data-driven and evidence-based vendor assessment methodology provides the opportunity for a thoughtful and objective analysis of a vendor marketplace. Knowing the importance of vendor assessment in the growing field of the healthcare technology is a nice investment of knowledge. As future nurses, it gives us information on how the process of investing in healthcare gadget can be a big help in the clinical setting. Once again, I am Marjorie Ann Rosales, hoping that you guys are safe and eating healthy. I am your student nurse for today.